Hi, I'm Volta. I'm originally from Moldova, a small country in Eastern Europe, but I've been living in the States for the past 15 years. My background is in marketing and business, but most importantly, I'm a watercolor artist, and this is my story. I got into watercolors about 5 or 6 years ago. At the time, I was getting my MBA and working full-time, so I really was craving for a creative release, and finding a cheap watercolor set at the store really helped me get that. I love watercolors because it's a very special medium, and seeing the color interact with water, so seeing how the pigment dances around, it's just so meditative to me, and I think it's a great medium to explore and just have fun with colors. The most important thing that watercolors taught me about life was patience, because to get to a good spot with watercolors, it takes a lot of time, a lot of layers, a lot of patience. And so I feel like with life, whenever you want to get to a certain place, you have to be okay with the middle parts where it's like uncomfortable, you're not liking where this is going, but you know you're on the right path. It was about a year and a half ago that I decided to become a full-time artist, and it was a moment in time where I was getting back from a trip, and I was on a plane, and there was a lot of turbulence, and I was just terrified. And so at that particular moment in time is when I realized that if I were to die in that moment, I would feel unfulfilled, because I didn't even give it a chance to pursue the one thing that sets my soul on fire. And so that kind of was like the trigger moment where I decided, well, I really want to give this a shot, because it's what makes me me. I had to give up, an art studio that I had on my own in the suburbs in order to have an art career, and now I work out of my dining room table. Even though it's a struggle sometimes, so I'm not always certain where my next paycheck is going to come as far as art is concerned. I do some freelancing on the side with marketing, but at the same time, it is, not a guaranteed thing, and so it's definitely a struggle sometimes. But I think the risk is worth the reward, because I get to pursue something that just gives me life. And even though it's hard, sometimes it's very hard and I feel burnt out, at the end of the day, I'm still very thankful that I have this opportunity, because honestly, if I were to still live in Moldova right now, I don't think I'd be able to do this and pursue this passion of mine. I think my favorite part so far has been meeting with different people, and especially people that have meraki. So meraki is a Greek word that basically means doing something with passion and soul. And so when I get to work with people that have that passion about what they do, and I get to illustrate that for them, it just makes it all amazing and worthwhile. The role of creativity in life, I think, is to self-express, to be an expression of your most truest self. So I think we ourselves, in some way or another, are creations, and so we have that innate feeling in us to create. And so I think some people just forget that when they grow up, and so I think trying to get back to that, to remember like your inner child of how happy you were when you were creating, I think that's what matters in life. You do not need a huge space, you just need a small little desk, or even small tiny sketchbook. That's all you need to start doodling and expressing yourself, or creating something out of nothing.